Good morning, dear investors. We are still waiting for the CEO and founder of Sun Investment Group to join, but yes, we have David as online, so it's a good timing, and so we can already start today's webinar. So thank you everybody for joining. This is the first webinar in this capital raising season of 2026. And we are starting it with a bond issue which kind of overlaps with 2025. So Eternia Solar, which is a part of Sun Investment Group, one of the largest solar energy developers in our region, in Poland especially. We have already issued first tranche of the bonds we are talking about in December of last year. So now we're coming back with a tap issue with a goal to reach the ultimate program size of 8 million. And this second tranche is of the size up to 3.6 million euros. And today, to talk about the bonds, to present the case, participants are myself, so Vygantas Urba. I'm head of investment banking at Orion Securities. And as mentioned, we also have Davidas Varabauskas, who is a founder and shareholder of Sun Investment Group, and the daughter company of which is the issuer Eternia Group. So before giving floor to Davidas to present the company and the group in more details, I'll make a summary of the investment case. As mentioned, this is a second tranche already of the bond issue, the size of which, after the placement of second tranche, should reach 8 million euros. And this is a short-term bridge type financing. It is a short-term bond, the redemption of which is it will be on December 23rd of 2026. So we have around 10 and a half months still remaining till maturity. Why it is a short term? Because use of proceeds and sources of redemption are related to a specific 120 megawatt solar project portfolio in Poland developed by the Sun Investment Group. And financing will be used to finance working capital needs related to construction of this portfolio. And the issuer, the group itself, Sun Investment Group, has already signed long-term credit financing agreement with institutional lenders, specifically Amiral and NordLB. NordLB, one of the largest institutional lender from Germany. But this financing gonna be disbursed only after the construction is completed. It is disbursed in stages, depending on the milestones reached for the construction. But ultimately, all the loan will be paid out only after the construction is completed. Naturally, the construction itself has to be financed by the construction company, in this case, the issuer, Eternia Solar. And that is why there is a need for a short-term financing to make the payments, to order all the equipment, or order the construction works to finalize the construction and get the payout of the mentioned loan. Annual coupon rate is 10%. It is being paid out on a semi-annual basis. So first payment will be in June of this year, and then the second payment at the time of the redemption. Since the use of funds is related to specific projects and specific construction contract related to 120 megawatt project portfolio, the main collateral is receivables stemming exactly from this indicated construction contract related to specific project portfolio. In addition to that, we also have a pledge of dedicated bank accounts through which all the money will move. Bond money raised from bonds will be deposited in that bank account. all the orders will be done from these bank accounts, and revenues from construction contract will reach that bank account. And finally, the redemption also will come from the funds accumulated in these dedicated bank accounts. So yeah, we continuing with specific terms. So what I have already mentioned. Maybe investment size, minimum investment is one bond. So one bond, price of one bond is 1,011 euros, 0.53 euro cents. Why we have such a specific price? Because as mentioned, first tranche was already placed and came into validity on 23rd of December last year. So in order to maintain the 10% annual yield, investors, when purchasing the bond, have to pay for the accrued interest. Besides the security pledge, what I have already mentioned, important to point out is special undertakings or covenants by the issuer. So what I mentioned, dedicated bank accounts, it is being pledged, but we also of course have a requirement that these dedicated bank accounts has to be identified in a specific construction contract to make sure that all the movement is through these dedicated bank accounts. That's one covenant. Another one is a restriction for the shareholders of the issuer to get any payouts until the bonds are redeemed. And also we have a kind of additional requirement for the company, for the issuer, to accrue funds. When we have 3 months remaining to maturity, the issuer has to accrue at least 15% of nominal amount of the bonds outstanding in dedicated bank account. Then we have 2 months remaining, 50% of the nominal has to be accrued, and when we have 1 month remaining, 75% of the total nominal has to be accrued in the account. The purpose is to make sure that there is a gradual accumulation of funds to redeem the whole bond issue. Early redemption, it is also an option provided for the issuer. The issuer can redeem the bonds after 6 months from the original issue date. So it starts in June 2026. If it is redeemed from when 6 months till 3 months are remaining to maturity, 1% early redemption premium has to be paid out in addition to accrued interest. If it is redeemed when we have 3 months or less remaining, the early redemption is possible without any additional fees. Again, to make sure and to reflect the fact that financing is for a continuous construction, the revenues from these contracts will be pooling, and the issuer in some cases will be able to redeem early. And finally, the bonds will be admitted to trading. We have indicated 3 months after issue date, but I think it's gonna be sooner. When we finish this tranche in the beginning of February, we are planning to place it on First North Baltic First North bond list. So structurally, what I have mentioned about this bridge need graphical representation that investors are buying bonds, so providing a debt type of financing for the Eternia Solar, which is constructing 120 megawatt project portfolio in Poland, owned by the same group as Sun Investment, by the same group as the shareholder of the issuer. And as mentioned, the payout of the debt of this debt facility, it's going to be paid out only after the milestones are reached. So once it is reached, so within 12 months, be already confirmed lenders, the biggest of which is NordLB, will provide debt financing for the owner, SPVs owning the 120 megawatt portfolio with a specific use of these loans, specifically to pay for the construction works according to the EPC, so construction contract for works executed by Eternia Solar. So Eternia Solar will receive this debt as a payment for provided services, revenues, and these funds will be used to ultimately redeem all the bond issue. So we have a rather classical, we could say, a bridge type of financing for this bond issue. Finally, some key investment highlights. Firstly, of course, what I have mentioned, that this project structure is already approved by institutional investors, so providers of these long-term credits, NordLB, who have one of them is NordLB, and we have already executed due diligence phase and signed the loan agreement. Also, there is no any development regulation related risk because all the projects in this 120 megawatt portfolio have already received construction permits, so it is in ready to build stage. The group has provided significant equity contribution for the construction development of these projects, and also what's important structurally, but not to this bond case because it is short-term financing. These projects have already secured revenues from electricity sales by participation in CFD type of support scheme by the Polish government. And in addition to that, we have also power purchase agreements. So there is the risk of revenue fluctuation due to electricity prices is managed by these contracts. Secondly, of course, the issuer is a part of Sun Investment Group. David will expand on that, but the group has a significant experience in development projects in various stages, from greenfield development till selling the projects and concentrating on Poland. So it is really not a newcomer in this market. Also, Polish renewable sector is much more robust compared to Baltics. Prices are higher in general, so it is a more favorable environment both for developers of these renewable energy projects than compared to the Baltics. And finally, a secure transaction structure, clear source of repayment, clear and controlled use of proceeds. And as mentioned, the payback of bonds backed by the loan agreements already signed with institutional credit providers. And what has to be completed is construction. So there is no any projects commercial risk involved, purely the construction risk, which has to be managed by the issuer. So yeah, that's introduction about the case, and now I give floor to David to present the issuer and then later on the group.
Yes, hello everyone. Thank you, Mykantas. So yes, Eternia Solar is an experienced EPC contractor in Lithuania and Poland. Overall, significantly more than 200 megawatts built across hundreds of projects and different types of projects, from industrial roofs to utility scale projects like grid projects. So SIG has been in the market for more than 10 years. Eternia is in business since 2017 with the brand and with the current structure. The company has around 40 experts, 40 team members. What we do is engineering, procurement, project management, and construction management and operation and maintenance in-house. We do not have installer teams inside. This is a different business segment. We subcontract that. Currently, the company is building or is in some other planning stage, meaning in engineering or in procurement mostly already, for around 300 megawatts of internal group projects that are going to be built through 2026-2027. Here we are discussing the construction of part of that volume, so 120 megawatts. Maybe let's go into the next slide so that I don't get ahead of myself here. Here you can see graphically what I've just described. So basically the activities that are performed within the company itself. So it's engineering, part of the permitting, because part of the permitting is done by the group, Sun Investment Development Company. So permitting related to the land. But permitting related to the grid is more engineering type, like electrical engineering, construction engineering, and this is performed already by Eternia Solar team. Then we do procurement, construction management, and long-term O&M of the project. Here you can see the distribution of historically executed projects in Poland by Eternia. So we have been building in Poland since the end of 2018, where we acquired first for 43 megawatts as a group. So Eternia has built them. Since that time, Eternia has built 133 individual projects, which happen to be roughly 130 something megawatts of installed capacity. Some projects as standalone, as you can see, 1 megawatt projects dominate the landscape here, but also we have some agglomeration of projects like Garno, which is a 10 megawatt project, but with individual connection point for each megawatt. Yes, so this is our track record in Lithuania. It's a little bit different in its typology, as I have commented. So Eternia has also been actively building industrial self-consumption PV plants. So mainly driven by certain type of subsidies here in Lithuania to industrial consumers. So it means that we have been building on the premises of the factories, either on the roof or in the backyard of a factory. As you can see here in the pictures, we have built one of the bigger rooftop systems in the Baltics on the Renewable factory. It's 1.5 megawatts. When we have built it, it was the biggest in the region. It's not anymore. And then we have built multiple solar parks for ourselves, so for the group, for Sun Investment Group, but also for external investors like EIKA, which is a big real estate manager and developer here in Lithuania. Ignitis, you probably know, the biggest utility company here. So we have built several parks for them. You can see one of them here, 6 megawatt park. Yep, let's go forward. Yeah, so this is a representation of the management team at Eternia. It is also similar to what you are going to see at Sun Investment Group. So it's an international team. We are spread over 3 main offices where we concentrate the majority of the staff. So we have an office in Madrid, where Stanislao, who is head of our EPC unit, is located. Then we have Marius, who is a country manager for Eternia in Lithuania, and also a key project management team lead for the group. We have Wojciech, who is a country manager, mostly focused on development of greenfield projects, but also interacting with the construction team in a broader sense. And then we have Lila, who is our head of O&M, and she's located in Greece. So yes, so Eternia is closely interlinked with the group in its broader sense with Sun Investment Group. Sun Investment Group, as I've mentioned, has been in business for more than 10 years. 2017 here, as you see mentioned, it is in its more or less like permanent phase that you are seeing right now. Previously, it actually started slightly earlier, but it was like, one-off projects being developed in Lithuania and UK. But then we have started constantly working in Poland through Eternia and Lithuania. And then we have expanded our activities into the mentioned 4 offices. Actually, I forgot to mention the Italian office. It's a smaller operation. It's a more greenfield development operation. We still don't have construction team in there. We are planning to get construction going in Italy probably sometime at the end of this year, maybe even slightly earlier, depending how fast do we gather a critical mass. And through that time, which is basically since 2019, end of 2019, when we started doing our own greenfield development, we have generated a pipeline of 3 gigawatts, mostly concentrated in Poland and Italy, Poland being the key market, the biggest concentration, with over 2 gigawatts in the pipeline. We have built over 200 megawatts, as I've already mentioned. And overall, as a group, we have around 70 people working in it through various companies and geographies. Yes, here you can see the track record a bit more compressed into a timeline view. So as mentioned, 2017, we do our first investment grade transaction, so to speak, where we acquired a 2 megawatt project in 2016. Actually, we have acquired it in UK through a joint venture that we did with one small family office there. We managed the construction and we managed the exit from the project. So we sold it to a German family office, and this was kind of a proof of concept transaction for us, which we have started replicating from that moment on up until 2021. So, as mentioned, we acquired 43 megawatts in Poland, and this was our significant, let's say, entry into a significant sized already player market. We repeated the same transaction by acquiring 66 megawatts together with Lord's asset management fund for infrastructure. 2019, we have finished building the 43 megawatts, and then we sold it to Aberdeen Standard Investments, one of the biggest asset management companies in Europe. This was also like a big milestone for us because it basically put us a little bit on the Champions League, on the transaction level, on the experience level, on how to work, how to structure a project, and what is important, what is not. So 2020, we finalized the 66 megawatts. From that moment on, we focus on our own project development and the M&A activities. We started doing it by ourselves. So we did an acquisition of 23 megawatts of ready-to-build projects in Poland. We participated in the auction, won the auction, built the projects, financed the construction, and sold those projects operational already to Alternus Energy, which is a small IPP listed in Norway, I think. We then continued to focus on expanding our greenfield activities and to create as many ready-to-build projects as we can internally in the group. So to this date, we've got around 440 megawatts in Poland. And in Italy, it's not a very important number so far. It's around 20 megawatts in ready-to-build, but we are expecting major breakthroughs during this year. So we have participated we have secured multiple financings during that time, since 2021 through 2025, from various institutional investors like Eiffel, like NordLB, like Berenberg, Amiral, Cordiant. So we have issued Public bonds, we have issued private bonds that have been redeemed already. So we have been very active in the financing market because the focus of the group was to actually keep the projects on the balance sheet instead of selling them. It doesn't mean that we lock ourselves from the possibility to sell the projects, but we are shifting from the necessity to sell the projects as soon as they are built to the situation where we can sell them if the market conditions are very favorable to us. But if not, we can hold and accumulate the generating power plant portfolio for as long as we want, because it is a sustainable cash flow generating business from our point of view. Yeah, so once again, to emphasize that the group has two main activities and two main separate, let's say, business units. One of them is Greenfield, M&A and financing, which is Sun Investment Development or Sun Investment Group, so to speak, Sun Investment Services. And then we have Eternia Solar, which is the EPC and O&M provider for the group, and in certain cases for third parties as well. Yeah, so you can see the group structurally here. So you have Sun Investment Group UAB as the main holding company under which all the businesses and assets are arranged through direct or indirect 100% ownership. So you have the Polish projects, Italian projects, and then we have the Eternia Solar business, with the main mother company being Eternia Solar UAB, which is the issuer. And under it, we have several daughter companies, main of which are Eternia Solar PL, which is the company that is building the Polish projects, which is a direct contractual counterparty to the project SPVs. And we have Eternia Solar LT UAB, which is building exclusively third-party industrial PV plants or remote PV plant, well, standard PV plants for other investors here in Lithuania. Yeah, so this is the ownership structure. As you see, myself, I own the majority of the company. We have Andrius Tarskovas also as a shareholder. Then we have a couple of Luxembourg entities, and below them, already mentioned Sun Investment Group UAB, under which all of the business is concentrated. As mentioned, management team. Again, you can see an international team from 3 nationalities here. Myself, the CEO of the company, Enrique is our COO. He's running the implementation of all, let's say, the plans and coordinating the teams. Adriana is our CFO. She is located in Luxembourg. And Yona is our head of legal, and she's located in Vilnius office. Yep. Right, so here you can see the split of the Polish pipeline into different stages of maturity. We have projects with all the permits, part of which are already in construction. So you can see more than 300 megawatts fitting in that phase. We have another 120 megawatts of projects that have secured the grid connection, which is a key document in Poland, meaning that they already have an environmental impact assessment secured, and because it's a necessary document to apply for grid connection. And grid connection is basically the last document that you need to get in Poland, building permit being basically a formality. And you can see in earlier stage, we have 1.7 gigawatts, out of which 1.3 gigawatts have already passed the environmental impact assessment, meaning that they only need grid to become a real value project, so to speak. Up to now, they are a cost, but once they secure a grid, they become an asset. Here a little bit about the market. Maybe let's get back. So yeah, I always forget to mention that, but Basically, why Polish market? So Polish energy market, electricity market has certain advantages that are rare in the European context. Mainly, it is dominated by local coal generation plants. Not local coal as per se, it's more imported than local, but the generation of electricity is sitting basically on the shoulders of old coal power plants. So there's a big growth space for renewables there. The penetration is not as fast as in Lithuania, for example, which are very small markets and have seen a massive boom in the last 2 years. And right now they are facing certain structural issues. They are adapting, but there's a certain period of uncertainty for those projects. In Poland, that is not the case. Structurally, energy is more expensive than in any other European country, and the same cases with Italy. And this is main reason, basically, why we are concentrated on those two markets: higher energy, big markets, good possibilities to capture a significant market share in terms of megawatts, not so much in percentage. You don't need to dominate the market to have an impact. And this was the key reason why we have concentrated in those two markets. Yeah, so portfolio that is being built by Eternia and whose costs are being financed by this bond emission. So location, Poland, size 120 megawatts spread over 70 something individual projects, varying in size from 1 megawatt to 25 in a single project. All the permits on those projects have been secured, so there is no permitting risk. The only question here that cannot be pinned down to an exact day is basically the grid commissioning. It can take 2 weeks, it can take 2 months sometimes, and simply because multiple counterparties are involved in the commissioning of a project, and sometimes somebody is unavailable, and the date needs to move, etc., etc. Weather and many more factors in there. Yeah, so a bit less relevant for Eternia, but still for general knowledge here. All the projects have won in the power auctions organized by Polish state. So we have secured the good part of the revenues already through CFD scheme on these 120 megawatts. The remaining part of the generation is going to be sold through commercial PPA, so power purchase agreements with basically utilities. After COD, the plan is to keep the projects on the balance sheet or sell them on the market if we get a really good price offer. As I said, we are not exclusively close to any strategy, but the core strategy is build and hold for Sun Investment Group. The EPC costs, average EPC price between the SPV and the Eternia Solar is around 570,000 euros, with the margin already built in this price. The remaining part to be received under these contracts is already coming exclusively from mentioned lenders, so NordLB and Amiral, which means that there is absolutely no commercial risk about the revenues projected in this business plan. And those revenues are the direct source of repayment of today's bond, basically. So there is no commercial risk, just the execution risk. So Eternia simply needs to do its job properly, issue invoices, get them paid using external lenders' money lent to the SPVs. And as mentioned, Eternia has been for 10 years in this business, has built a lot of projects. So basically, it's business as usual activities for Eternia, nothing out of the ordinary. Yeah, so this is a geographical representation of the 120 megawatt portfolio. This is split across two lenders, so NordLB and Amiral. As you can see, the majority of the projects are in the western part of Poland, so part of that a little bit in the central, and we are far removed from the eastern part, and which is also a benefit these days due to the geopolitical tensions, as everybody knows. So, yeah, probably not more to say on this. Here, Mykantas has already explained the scheme. Basically, there are EPC contracts signed between Eternia Solar and project SPVs that jointly hold 120 megawatts. There is a senior financing provided by NordLB and Amiral to the SPVs, and SPVs are using those funds to pay Eternia Solar for the executed milestones of the EPC contract. Now, the bonds proceeds, this bond proceeds, the one that we are talking about here that are going into Eternia, are used to finance these interim expenses that are necessary to fulfill milestones mentioned in the EPC contract with the SPVs. So, we need to buy modules, we need to buy mounting structures, we need to buy cables, we need to buy, medium voltage or high voltage cable, trafo station, whatever. We need to assemble certain amount of equipment, perform certain amount of work in order for that to become a specific milestone, for which we then get the payment from the SPV. And so this is basically the simple explanation, I would say. Again, we have the three main lenders participating in the construction of our projects. So we have NordLB providing senior financing for construction of the mentioned projects, Amiral doing the same. They are a little bit different type of entities. NordLB is a bank, Amiral is a private debt fund, and we have Berenberg, which is a specific type of bank as well, which is participating on the junior lending level. All of them are established, serious and big financial institutions with a bit different profiles, but having these entities in the group financial structure really means a lot to us, not only in terms of money provided in terms of financing, but also like quality recognition that comes from working with them, because they are really rigorous. They are very, detailed in their due diligence processes, and having contract signed with them and money released by them, it's really a badge of quality. I can tell that with full sincerity and guarantee. It's not easy.
Yeah, thanks, David. Also, before continuing with financing, I see that we already have questions popping up in Q&A window. So if you still have any, please fill it in. We'll answer them after going through the slides. So continuing with the financing, as mentioned, the Eternia Solar is integrated part of the Sun Investment Group. And actually majority of revenues recorded on standalone profit and loss account, which you see on the slide, is coming from the works and services provided to related parties, so to other companies of Sun Investment Group. Nevertheless, from these construction activities in 24 and 25 first half, a similar result was achieved. So a net profit of around 2.3 million euros in 2024 and 2.7 million euros in first half of 2025. Going to the balance sheet of the issuer, so again, it is integrated in its services and structure to the group. So on the asset side, what we have as the financial assets, it is shares of subsidiary Eternia Solar PL, which is also part of the EPC activities focusing on Poland. And we also have other non-current assets, which are mainly receivables from various project SPVs of the Sun Investment Group, related to projects such as the one being financed, so solar development projects, mainly in Poland. Talking about the liability side, also all liabilities are actually related to the payments outstanding to related parties. And what's important to notice is that according to the terms and conditions of the bond issue, all these related party liabilities are actually subordinated to the bond issue. Switching to the consolidated already accounts of the group, of Sun Investment Group, what David has mentioned that up until recently, the activities were focused on a model that the assets are being developed, built, and then sold. So it is a development activity which is rather cyclical. You can be spending several years on development of specific assets and see no significant asset sale revenues, and then have a year when you sell all these portfolios and have significant revenues. But in this case, 2023, 2024 did not see any significant sell-off of assets. However, from the exactly construction activities, so EPC activities, the group managed to generate both revenues and net profit. So from activities provided to outside parties, and net income, net profit in 2024, also up till to first half of 2025 was again fluctuating in around 2.5 million euros. On the asset side of the balance sheet of the group, consolidated one, we see that total assets are in excess of 87 million euros, out of which 32 million euros recorded as property, plant, and equipment. These are the projects, advanced projects in a construction phase or already completed construction. Intangible assets, 47 million euros. These are the less advanced projects, so greenfield stage, permit receivable, various stages, what David has covered in previous slides. Important to note that the value which is recorded, so 37 million euros, it is according to the incurred cost to reach that stage. So it's not a market estimate of these early stage development projects. So I would say more or less that's about the assets. On liability side, the group's equity in the first half of 2025 reached 15.6 million euros. So as you see, continuous growth, mainly from net profit generated from EPC, so construction activities. Liabilities, we have around 73 million euros, out of which 3.2 million euros, it's short-term liabilities payable within 1 year, and remaining 70 almost million euros, it's longer maturity liabilities. Most of it is on a specific project company level, so not on the issuer level. On the issuer level, we only have bonds which were issued in 2024. So yeah, but equity, as mentioned, it's increasing around 50% equity ratio, and increasing from the profit being generated. So why we're also showing group accounts, it's because, as mentioned, the group is a guarantee provider, covering also the bond liabilities for the issuer. So switching back to the terms of the bonds, of course, before taking a decision, we really encourage all investors to review all the risk factors. We have extensive description available on the information document, maybe pointing out what are the main risk factors affecting this case. What Dave just mentioned from commercial side or financing providing side, when talking about this project, 120 megawatt, it's more or less covered. The only not covered part is construction. So there is a risk, of course, that construction could either take longer than planned or cost would be higher than planned. However, the group really has extensive experience in constructing comparable projects. That's one fact. Another one, of course, we have a different situation than the one we saw in 2022, 2023, where the raw material prices were skyrocketing. Now the prices are much more stable. So since we have quite short time, 12 months, so actually 10 and a half months till the maturity, during this short-term period, fluctuation in the prices, which could result in some cost overruns, is rather limited, and this risk is managed. Of course, the EPC services provided to projects developed by the group. Of course, in the longer term, the development of renewable projects has significant amount of risk related both to macro environment, competition, electricity price fluctuation. However, again, this is, I would say, comes into play more in a longer term maturity, and in this short term window, the influence of these risk factors is rather limited. Switching to bond-related risks, of course, we have rather standard ones, suitability, credit default risk. One maybe to point out, liquidity risk, as mentioned, bonds will be listed on First North. However, the liquidity is not guaranteed. So if investors will decide to sell sooner than the final redemption date, they could get impact from the liquidity. There is not enough liquidity, the prices could be not that favorable as expected. So that's more or less about the risks. Subscription mode is rather standard. Investors can provide subscription orders through any bank or financial intermediary which has access to Baltic Nasdaq infrastructure. So it would be LHV, SEB, Swedbank, or any other bank or a brokerage company. You can submit subscription orders during the whole subscription period, which began this Monday and will end next Friday, so on 30th of January. And maybe worth mentioning is allocation principles. We have allocation possibility for the issuer to decide how to allocate freely, but what we had talks in case of oversubscription, we would be using a proportional allocation method, so meaning that all the subscriptions would be proportionally decreased in case of oversubscription. So yeah, final date to submit order, 13th of January, and the settlement and issue date of this tranche is 3rd of February. On that date, the investors will already see the bonds on their investment accounts. And finally, before moving to Q&A, again, this is a second tranche of the larger 8 million euro bond program. Investors are being offered a 10% annual yield with semi-annual payout of interest. First payout in 23rd of June. Last payout on the redemption date. If no early redemption is executed, that would be 23rd of December of this year. The bonds are secured by receivables stemming from specific EPC contract signed by the issuer with with project companies of Sun Investment Group. Also, we have a pledge of dedicated bank accounts for which all the cash will be moved. So both payments for the ordered equipment and revenues from the completed construction works will move from that account. And we also have a guarantee issued by the shareholders of the Sun Investment Group. Regarding special undertakings, maybe want to point out is that gradual accumulation of funds. When we have 3 months remaining, the issuer is required to gradually accumulate all the amount needed for the redemption of the whole 8 million bond issue. And yeah, early redemption, as it can start as soon as June this year. If it's from June till October, 1% premium early redemption. If it is being redeemed when we have 3 or less months remaining to final maturity, a redemption would be without any additional premium to investors. And yeah, as mentioned, listing on the First North, we have 3-month period here indicated. However, we have planned that just after the finish of current placement of second tranche, we would execute the listing. So the listing will happen in the beginning of February already. So, and that's all we wanted to cover in the slides. And now we can switch towards Q&A. One question regarding the progress of the project. So, are there any changes or progress in the project since completion of the first tranche? So maybe related question, how this money, was it already spent and how was it spent?
Yeah, so, again, not so much time has passed. We are talking only about 3 weeks. But yes, the money has been sent on equipment and paying for the services provided by the subcontractors. And Eternia has issued invoices to SPVs, and we are collecting first payments from Nordel, financed by Nordel B, basically, today or tomorrow. I don't remember exactly. So and on a more practical level, so I cannot name the exact progress, but there's progress being made constantly. We are building these projects non-stop. So there's more than 70 projects that are being built or are waiting for equipment or are in they have passed all the engineering phase. So it's either construction or equipment deliveries or equipment ordering. We are constantly advancing day by day.
So a related question to the construction topic. How do you see Eternia's capabilities to build 120 megawatt this year, given that previous EPC track record in Poland is around 130? So are you able, do you have all the team in place and capacity in place to complete the project?
Yes. So basically, we have built these 130 projects in 2 years. And right now we are talking that we need to build 70 projects in more or less the same amount of time in 2 years. So it is actually less workload than before. And there is a lot more experience in-house than comparing to the first wave of projects, especially the 43 megawatts that we had to build. And there was a lack of knowledge and procedures even at grid companies that had to commission our projects. So it's not a monumental challenge, so to speak, to execute this contract.
What can theoretically be the main causes for delays in construction of this project?
So at every minor step there are some interferences possible, but namely weather. So if due to the weather certain works cannot be performed, so that creates a cascade effect on downstream subcontractor level. So, if you are late with mounting structure installation, that means that schedules need to be remade for the milestones that are coming later, like the module assembly or cabling or connection to the trafo station and the consequent medium voltage connection from the trafo station to the connection point. That on equipment supply, we are not basically witnessing any delays whatsoever. So, and there's nothing that we see that is going to change this aspect. So on the grid commissioning, this is the only part where, there is a variable. So, it can take, 3 weeks, or it can take 2 months. So in that time frame, we know that we are commissioning every project that we have. Exactly how long it is going to take, it is difficult to say, because you have a lot of people participating in the commissioning. Commissioning goes in 2 or 3 stages, and each stage requires, people from different entities that need to participate. Even from the same grid operator, different departments need to come, and, it only takes one person to be absent, that you need to change let's say, a date for a certain action to be performed.
Thank you. How do you see the future of the Baltic renewable market in terms of prices? How does it compare to Poland? And related question about the electricity demand. There is a lot of talk that demand for electricity will surge due to establishment of data centers. How likely is it, especially for CEE and maybe Baltic also region?
Mm-hmm. Well, these are big questions. So it's not easy for me to give you a very wide overview. I mean, it would probably require a separate presentation here and analysis. But so what we see in the analysis and the reports that we are buying from the market, so price predictions, price forecasts for the next 30, 40 years, demand. So there are, various scenarios. But in all of them, for sure, the Polish energy prices are higher compared to the Baltics. When it comes to data center creation topic, so we are developing data centers as well. So it's a new business line for us. We have quite a lot of land, and some of it is, can be used for data centers. So there is demand. For sure, it's a growing demand. Supply is also growing, meaning that there's a lot of projects being developed in the market. Not all of them are great. And I would say that it's a bit too early to say, but for sure the amount of data centers is going to grow, and because simply everything is being digitalized, basically. And maybe the big question here is that data centers that are used by AI, are they going to appear and grow significantly in European Union? I would say yes. With all the geopolitical, let's say, developments that we are seeing. So definitely more autonomy is necessary for EU, and autonomy on data requires that you run data centers locally so that you could control what happens to that data. But it's a big topic, I don't think that anybody can answer that with full certainty right now.
Yeah, question regarding investor relations and withholding tax. I would like to know whether you're planning to create a dedicated role in the group which would manage investor relations. I've been trying to resolve an issue regarding withholding tax for non-Lithuanian residents since beginning of December with no success. So will this issue be solved? So maybe I can comment that we know that the company did not manage to timely address this issue, but now it is being addressed. So, and the forms should be sent from the investors to either the issuer or Orion Securities. We would forward it to the company, but the company is already doing the procedures related to withholding tax question, solving this issue. Yes, another question, what exactly will the proceeds from the second placement stage be used for? So I guess it's not different from the first stage, because it is in being constructed in batches. So I guess it's not like that you spend everything from first tranche on modules, now you will spend it on, I don't know, construction materials.
Correct. Yeah, so as just to repeat it again, it's around 70 individual projects, which are more or less the same. So certain equipment is being bought in bigger batches, like modules and maybe inverters, but then all the other stuff is more tailor-made, more individualized to a specific plant. And so the money is being used where it is needed at that time, be it to pay for assembly works or for fence or for delivered or for trafo stations being delivered. The purpose is always the same.
Okay. A question about finances. From provided data, we see that gross profit of 2025 is significantly bigger than before. Could you give some light? What is the reason behind it? I guess we're talking both about the issuer and the group. So we see that, the net profit, gross profit increased, and on consolidated level, we also see the same. So I guess, David, it's mainly connected to higher EPC activity, which relates to maturing of your development portfolio, yes?
Yes, I would say so. I cannot comment with full certainty right now, but yes.
Because as mentioned, the majority of revenues, both on consolidated level and especially on Eternia Solar issuer, are related to construction services being provided.
Yeah, so if I'm looking at Eternia, so I do not really see that big increase on a group level, yes. But yeah, the only impact is probably we have also minimized the, let's say, the costs of development activities, because the majority of greenfield development costs have been incurred already. And so majority of costs are shifting now proportionally to the construction activities. So, OPEX and etc. And the volume of business is increasing significantly of the EPC activities, and it's going to accelerate in 2026 even more. So it's related.
Yeah, and maybe also worth noting that it's a half a year result of 2025 is of course interim, and construction is a continuing process. So we should not kind of extrapolate that half a year result. Should maybe more look into annual ones.
Yeah, but for sure there's going to be growth comparing 2024 to 2025.
Okay, yeah, and two related questions regarding first one, who will be checking accumulation of funds for the redemption? So the trustee, bondholder trustee, which is an audit company of the FINA, will be responsible for that, checking that all the conditions specified in terms and conditions are met by the issuer. And the related question, what is the likelihood of early redemption? So
on the redemption, we commented that also on the Lithuanian presentation. Yes. So the likelihood is low, I would say. And the base case plan is what we see as soon as as soon as accumulation starts. So it makes sense for us to start repaying those amounts that need to be accumulated. So that's
when we
it's
have
going to be gradual.
2 and 1 month remaining till the maturity.
Yes. So it will be simply a gradual redemption.
Okay. So that was the last question. So I really thank all the participants and all the people who provided questions. Thank you, Davidas. And as mentioned, we still have 1 week remaining till the subscription period is over. So we encourage all the investors, if you still have questions, please submit it either to Orion or to the issuer. We will happily answer it. And once you take a decision, as mentioned, you can provide subscription orders through any bank or financial brokerage company in the Baltic region. So it is as simple as that. And with that, I again thank you for participation and wish you a good remaining day.
Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot.